What's up, y'all? This is Jonathan Lippy, Beyond the Harmony, beyondtheharmony.com. And today we're reviewing Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, Thug World Order. And the first thing I'll say, and I'm pretty sure most of you understand what I'm saying, this was the first time that Bone wasn't perfect. It was the first time I noticed a chink in the invincible armor. This is a really good album, but it's not Creepin', it's not Eternal, it's not Art of War, and it's not Ressurrection. It just didn't live up to all the previous albums. And I almost wonder if it's because subconsciously the album cover modified all of the themes, meaning the colors. It was yellow. I mean, it was kind of an ode to Faces of Death, but all the albums we loved had the color scheme of black, red, and white. I remember there being talk of the album being called Independence Day, and the whole Bone getting off Ruthless was this big thing. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, you guys are demonizing Ruthless Records, and like, you're the ones that signed the contract. I mean, you saw Ice Cube and Dr. Dre left. It was very public why they left. I mean, you had to know who you were getting involved with. Their name was literally Ruthless Records. But I just always thought the demonization of... I was hoping that Bone and Tamika agreed on like a WWE fake beef storyline to keep people interested in the drama of Ruthless versus Bone. Now, don't get it twisted. I don't think that's what happened, but that's what I had hoped we'd find out happened one day. It was just part of the storyline, like a manufactured storyline to make Ruthless the bad guy. Because if it wasn't, then I'm just like, yo, you can't be mad if you signed the contract. You have to take some responsibility for the situation. I also thought that storyline, if it was a manufactured fake thing, was like a poetic, artistic full circle. For instance, Ruthless at the beginning, it was F the police. That was the establishment. That was the world order. And now Ruthless became the world order, and now Bone Thugs are against the established world order of Ruthless. So it's like a full circle kind of thing. You become the empire. You become what you hate. Ha, ha, you become the world's enemy. So the Thug World Order was the Rebel Alliance having their Independence Day against Ruthless. And then the follow-up album was Strength and Loyalty. Eventually, they get the power and they become the world's enemy. But part of the legacy, I feel like Thug World Order lacks a legacy, whereas all the other albums have a lore and a legacy to it. And I've been trying to figure out why is there no legacy to Thug World Order. And I think it's because all of the cuts were eventually released minus Secret Agent Man on THUGS. I guess meaning Thug World Order didn't leave anything to be desired. We got everything that we needed. It's a solved riddle. Whereas like the mysteries of East 99 and Creepin' and Art of War and the pre-releases and the this and the that, some of those are still unfulfilled. Whereas Thug World Order actually hurt itself by giving the fans the entire story. Also, and let me know if you detected this or the way you file this in your mind, this was the new Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, this album. Whereas even Ressurrection, you could still hear elements of the original Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, the original sound. Thug World Order was like a slowed down version of Bone, and it just felt different. And it was a new era of music. 2002, we talk about the different eras of like 83 to 87, 87 to 91. There's the 90s era of rap, and then 2002 kind of begins like this new era, and Bone wasn't part of that. A whole bunch of other stuff was going on, so Bone had to modify what they're doing. A great way to see it is just, I remember when Money Money music video came out, I thought, wow, reimagined their fashion. They've updated their fashion to be current with the current fashion. I remember thinking, I'm like, I still like the previous fashion. Maybe I'm old fashioned for liking the previous fashion and not, it's not that I didn't like how they were looking in Money Money. I was like, okay, that's cool. This just ain't the original Bone. This is like a new Bone. They're making a whole new Bone. Come and see the free Bone. It takes a while to adjust to it. As a longtime fan, you're going in expecting to get what you're used to, and now they've changed their look. They changed the color of their album cover. And even if you look at the back cover of the album, it's the way it's not dark, it's bright, and their clothing is light, and it's just a different feel. And not only that, the album, when I listen to Thug World Order, my mind is in a different place than when I'm hearing the first four albums. Oh, you know what it is? Thug World Order is not mystical. Thug World Order, I feel like these guys are playing in reality. The album is straightforward with real life topics like Not My Baby and What About Us. You didn't need to create a whole new vocabulary or you didn't need your own East 99 St. Clair dictionary to interpret what they're talking about. Additionally, you could actually hear what they're saying. You didn't have to slow it down and figure out it was very obvious what they were saying. And I think the ultra obviousness, straightforwardness of Thug World Order was a real break from the whole draw to Bone. It feels like, all right, this is like they're here on earth with us. We're not taken to this mystical place. We're not bringing spirits into this. This is just basic reality here. One of the excuses about the album is that they had to modify the track list to be polite to 9/11, which was an event that had occurred somewhat proximity to the event of the release of the album. But it's like, man, what kind of bad timing these guys have? They record Thug Love with the shotgun shots and they have to get permission to release that because Tupac died, and they can't put the actual track list for Thug World Order out because of 9/11. Something I saw PBD, Patrick Bet-David, say, he talks about Bone and Tupac a lot, and he said that he had checked out of rap music in 2002. And myself as well, I was like, well, I'll stay current with Bone, but you're entering the workforce at this point, and I think a lot of the Bones fans that grew up on them as teenagers are now hitting their 20s. They're getting full-time jobs. Now you're growing out of the teenage angst. And perhaps Bone was too, and that's why the material modifies. But I think we established it. Thug World Order is where the Bone style changes. The whole Bone persona, the whole Bone mystique, the whole entire storyline from here on out, the whole entire universe, the whole timeline. It's a whole different Bone from here on out. All right, let's get into the album. The intro. It's an interesting thing. The intro bridges us from the original Bone because there's the Mr. Ouija voice at the beginning, and then brings you into the more political Bone where there's like elements of their speech which I think extends onto the THUGS intro. It's the rising of a dog nation. Cool little crazy hook. Bum did bum bum come to the bum. This intro would have been cool if it introed an album that conceptually matched it, meaning, getting it, I was thinking, okay, you're changing it from Independence Day, which is political, to Thug World Order, which is conspiracy political. Thinking like, all right, I'm going to hear a whole political Bone album here or a conspiracy Bone album here. And there's really just one song that's on the political tip. And that would have been cool if they had a consistently conceptual album from front to back. Didn't work out that way. But that would have been cool. In the end, it's a cool intro, and the intro is consistent with previous Bone albums. It has a little bit of everything. Good intro. Track 2, Bone, Bone, Bone. Bone dog. We them niggas just sneaking a pistol up in the party, drinking a 151 Bacardi, drunk and finna fuck up somebody. Bone dog. Now, the track 2, which is the first actual song on the album, Bone, Bone, Bone. Man, out the gate, you're thinking like, woo, bro, Bone is back. Bone, Bone, Bone. This track is the bomb. These dudes are on topic. They're all consistent. And then Bizzy Bone's verse comes in and you're like, whoa, what just happened, bro? What? Because you're hearing the first 3 dudes drop it. You're hearing Krayzie, Layzie, and Wish. And in your mind, you're like, yo, these dudes killed it. I can't wait to hear how Bizzy comes in. And then Bizzy comes in and you're like, dog. Were you listening to the other guy's verses? What is this? But in the end, it's now almost like one of the most iconic Bizzy verses of all time. But at the time when this dropped, I was like, man, my dude ruined the track. What the fuck? What are you doing? But at the same time, like even at the time though, I was like, this is gloriously brilliant. The delivery, the flow, the energy, everything about it is amazing. It's just it didn't go with the previous 3 verses and it just like stuck out like a sore thumb. And it's like, oh, come on, man, be a team player. What is this? This would have been great on another song. Why is it here? Or it'd be great on this song if the other 3 guys weren't staying so consistently on topic. With that was a blemish, though. It seemed like a blemish. Nowadays, I love it. In ways, it's like you can't wait for the Bizzy verse to come on. But at the time, I was just like, man, this kills the vibe of the song. Bizzy's verse was the first time where I thought, what is dude doing? He was like flawless 100% up until this point. Heaven's Movie, The Gift, all of his verses on the Bone albums, all of his singles, all of his features, everything to that point was like, yes. And then this was like, whoa, what happened? What happened, bro? What is this? But in the end, it turned out to be great. But Bone, 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 even with Bizzy doing his thing on it, it's a top Bone song. It's a top 100 Bone song of all time. So I love Bone, Bone, Bone. I'm giving it a 9.25. It's a real good one. Now, this is where I think track 3 is where I think everybody gives their poor rating to Thug World Order. In fact, I think if this song wasn't on the album, people would have a much, much more favorable thought of Thug World Order than they do. In fact, this song and another one. And I say that just because you know what the other one is. So, Guess Who's Back?
Guess who's back?
I despised this track when it came out. It's not as bad now, but I still don't want to hear it. I think this track is what stained this album. At the time, I was like, dog, you guys were back on Ressurrection, and I just heard this song, Bone, 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 talking about how you guys are back with the free bone. And you got to have a different concept. This is a recycled concept. Same with Get Up and Get It, recycled concept. But what I wonder is if this song was on Bone Enterprise Faces of Death, would I have been impressed? I'm not impressed of it at all. I don't like it on Thug World Order. But if this same song, like if this exact song, the way it was recorded, showed up on Bone Enterprise, would I have been like, wow, these guys are amazing. Bizzy's verse sounded like he didn't even record it with the rest of the group. But it's the most enjoyable part of the song.
These niggas is enemies. Shots up in their body, never was friends to me. Pass me the Hennessy. Hey.
And the song felt really formulaic in a cookie cutter way, which that was not the Draw to Bone, but in this case, it was a real cookie. It just sounded like they were just shipping it in, packing it in. Is, in my book, the worst recorded Bone Thugs and Harmony. No, it's the second worst recorded Bone Thugs and... No, maybe... It's a big tie between Guess Who's Back and Every Time from The World's Enemy. Thug World Order, Thug World Enemy, The World's Enemy. Now, looking back on it now, years later, they're not so bad. They're not as bad as I made them out to be back then. But I still can't listen to either of them all the way through unless I'm forced to. There's elements to the song that is cool. Overall, don't like them. And I think that stained the album, having it so early on the album, after such a good song, you hear Bone, 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 and you're like, bro, I can't wait to hear what the rest of this album's like. If this is how they're coming out the gate, I can't wait to the next one. And the next one's Guess Who's Back? Dun, dun, dun. Guess Who's Back? Dun, dun, dun. The verses are okay. I don't mind the verses. Maybe if somebody remixed it and totally took out the chorus, the song's bad. I don't even want to beat it to death. I think everybody's took their hits on it. It's just that you made an album called BT&H Ressurrection, and now, and at the end of Bone, Bone, Bone is, guess who, we back. So on Bone, 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 the first song out the gate, you're telling us that you're back. Cool. Yeah, you guys are back. Great. And then the next song, they're telling me that they're back again. And I'm like, dog, you already told me you're back. You told me you're back on Ressurrection. You told me you're back on Bone, 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 the first actual track on the album. Cool. You can't keep telling me that you're back. How many times are you going to be back? Now, one of the points I made in the Discord chat that we were having, the voice chat, was that nobody got mad at Eminem for having two Guess Who's Back tracks. The Real Slim Shady is on the Real Shady was kind of like I'm back. And then Without Me, Guess Who's Back? Back again. Shady's back. Tell a friend. Everybody was okay with that. Although, honestly, I wasn't. That's why I remember it. I'm like, dog, you're going to do the I'm back again? I apply the same thing that I did with Eminem with Bone. I was like, oh, you can't do back-to-back I'm back songs. You can't do back-to-back I'm back. You're either back, you're back. You're back. If you're back, don't tell me you're back again. You're already here. Like, hey, yeah, you're here. It's the middle of the day. You ain't got to tell me you're back. To the point where if the album was just one less song, like this is a song that I wish just wasn't on the album. That if it went from Bone, Bone, Bone and directly went into Home with Phil Collins, can you imagine, like, that would have changed our perception. You would have been going from, bro, Bone, Bone, Bone to, bro, it's Home with Phil Collins. But it didn't work out that way. Track 4, Home.
Please take me home. When I look at them, I'm living now. They can compare to when I was living foul. I was running wild, surviving.
As big of a song as this could have been, it felt like there wasn't any marketing for it. Krayzie's verse was my favorite verse of all his verses at one point. I've heard it so many times now that I don't even like it the way I liked it anymore, because I played this song out so hard. Bizzy sounded like he actually wrote the verse to the song, but Bizzy not being in the video was another epic fail. My gripe with the song is, bro, you guys got Phil Collins on the track. Why is this not playing all day, every day, on every radio station, on MTV? The music, you guys shot a music video for it. I never saw it anywhere. I think the only time I saw it was either on YouTube years later or on, was it one of the collections? No, the collection came out before that. I don't know how I saw it, but it definitely wasn't on TV is what I'm saying. Or maybe it was on TV. Maybe I recorded it. I don't know. But it wasn't flooding the airwaves, and it really should have, because at the time, people weren't tired of the Phil Collins song yet. They still wanted to hear, whether it's Bone or Phil Collins, they wanted more of it. So the population wanted it, and they didn't get it. And it's like, it was recorded, you shot a video for it, but you didn't flood the airwaves with it. Every time I hear it, I just think of the missed opportunity. I thought it was, at the time, when this came out, when Home came out, I'm like, yo, this is like top 50 Bone all time. I'm a little tired of the song now, but when it dropped, I was like, yo, these dudes can still make, a top 50 classic into the catalog. This is one of the best Bone songs. It's dropped a lot on my list since then, but in 2002, this was like one of my favorite songs. Track 5, What About Us?
What about us? What about my niggas still out on the streets? What about my partners doing time?
This song actually felt consistent with the album title, and if this was supposed to be a conceptual album, this hit the mark. The kids on the chorus had that Trick Daddy feel to it. It would have been a better single, perhaps, than Get Up and Get It. Conceptually, everybody stayed on topic. Initially, it sounded like Bizzy didn't, but then the verse ends consistent. Krayzie served up another classic verse that had 5 or 6 different cadences on it. What About Us? Excellent song. It's sad that it's just an album track that people didn't hear it. I think this would have been more consistent with the time period for 2002 than some of the other singles they put out for this album. But it was like a new side of Bone. It was neat seeing them, being more mature, having a statement, making a statement, standing for something. So I was like, all right, this is where these guys are headed. You can feel like the Tupac influence, the Michael Jackson influence on it. When I say Michael Jackson, I mean They Don't Care About Us. Track 6, Get Up and Get It. Way too much chorus and bridge, not enough verses. This was the most bubblegum song I had ever heard by Bone at this point. And I wondered, is this what I asked for? Because, I'm always talking about, hey, Bone needs to do a little bit more harmony and go commercial and do these kind of things. But when I heard it, I was like, ew. I mean, the song's fine. I like the verses, but I don't want him to do it like this. It's the first time I heard Bone blatantly borrow another rap group's concept. Outkast and Goody Mob's Get Up, Get Out, and Get Something. Don't let all of your days pass by. As well as reprising their First of the Month, which was also borrowed from Marvin Gaye. So this was chasing Crossroads for sure. I don't hate him for doing it. I think every album has to have a song like this on it for the radio. But if you're going to do it, push it. Don't just make it and just not do anything with it. Bizzy sounded like his verse was recorded long before or long after his other verses on the album. Krayzie really delivered on this song. Like, he really wanted to do it. I think Krayzie really liked the topic. It sounded like he put a lot of effort into it. Also of note, this is when I noticed Layzie hopping on 2 verses a lot on songs, like the way he did on Bone Brothers. Because, like when I got the Bone Brothers album, you're in it for Bizzy, right? And Layzie's having like 2 verses per song, Bizzy having 1 verse. And I'm like, hey, can we get 2 verses from Bizzy too? If Layzie's going to have 2, Bizzy should have 2. Or if Layzie's going to have more than 1, that third verse should be Layzie and Bizzy going back and forth. It's being called the first single, but I never saw a music video for it. I kept getting it blended in my mind with Hip Hop Baby, which I guess came out a couple years later, but both of those blend together in my head. Like I said, there was no video. I guess the single was on the radio. I don't know. But it just was like, I'm like, is it a single but without a video? What's going on here? They performed it live a couple times. So everything about it just screamed cookie cutter mainstream. And even though I'm an advocate for that, the way it was done, it was just like too much chorus, not enough verses. I like the verses. I like the message. Krayzie really sounded like he really meant it on his message. And I liked it. I liked the verses. Just too much get up, especially after if you played the heck out of First of the Month and you're tired of First of the Month and now this is the new single you got and it sounds very similar. You're like, dude, I'm up. I know you guys are back and I've got up. I'm getting up. I am up, fellas. I've been up since 1995 when you told me to get up because it's the first of the month. And I've recognized that you're back since Ressurrection and I don't need to be told this anymore. So that's the issue with Get Up and Get It. Overall, it's an okay song. It's probably one of their weaker singles. Well, they actually have a lot of weak singles, so I don't know where you rank it, but it didn't perform too well, as I'll say that. Track 7, Bad Weed Blues.
You ain't gonna tell me ain't no sticky in this whole fucking city.
As I got older, I really appreciated this song. This song was so Bone Thugs and Harmony, experimental in another genre. But what I didn't like about the song at the time was that it was a losing concept, Bad Weed Blues. I like hearing stories of triumph, even if it's crime activity. It's like, hey, we're beating the popos, we're killing the haters, we're getting back at, like I like the triumph, I like uplifting, I like positive energy, activating constant elevation. And so the blues is like drowning in your sorrow, it's feeling your pity, and I think that's a path to destruction. But man, once I understood the blues a little bit more later on, and the song was mixed and engineered and arranged so gloriously, I also felt like the song was like a lie. I was like, how could these superstar rappers not get the best weed at all times? Bizzy's verse is hilarious. If Bone had become a blues band after this song, I would have totally understood it, and they should have done it. They killed this song. This song is phenomenal. This should be on their best of. Like if they ever make a best of, because it wasn't a single, so it's not a greatest hit. But when they make the best of Bone Thugs and Harmony, this has got to be on it. And man, is there any footage of the studio session recording this song? That would be excellent. That would be amazing to see how they were vibing together. Like that itself, the music video could have just been them performing it while they were recording it. They didn't, even though there's a storyline to the song, which it would have been easy to create visuals to, that actually would have been a good video too if they made a video just based on the storyline. But additionally, I think people, even outside of Bone fans, would have just been astonished to watch them perform the song, just to see how they physically expressed it. Is when this came out, Cecil called me and he was asking me like, hey man, do you like Bad Weed Blues? And I told him, I was like, man, I don't like it because it's negative. I like to hear triumphant stories about my guys scoring the best weed. I don't want to hear about them getting the worst weed, right? And he's like, yeah, but dude, it's the blues. You don't sing triumphant songs for the blues. The blues are the blues. And I was like, yeah, but I'm a power of positive thinking kind of guy. I only want to bring triumph into my life so I can live a life of triumph. I don't want to, entertain these negative thoughts. As I'm older now, and more understanding of the value of music and the intricacies of it all, this is one of the absolute best recorded, mixed, mastered songs and performed songs of their whole career. Listening to it now, I'm like, man, I wish I would have promoted this more, because it would have been an amazing arc if this song would have blown up and people would have said, yeah, we want more of this. It would have been neat if Bone kind of transitioned into like a blues kind of group. If anything, I should have been endorsing the flying heck out of this song because it was musical. It was everything I said I wanted from Bone. They did it, and I didn't cheer it on at the time. I've been cheering it on for the last 5 years, 6 years. Now I'm like, this might be my favorite song on the whole album. It's so good. In fact, this song, Bad Weed Blues, is a 10 out of 10. It's a 10. It is a 10. It's a perfect song. It's perfect. So if you haven't heard Bad Weed Blues in a long time, put some headphones on and listen to everything going on in the recording. Listen to their performances, how much fun they're putting into it, and the instruments. Everything is great about it. And historically speaking, Cecil was usually always right. I was always late to the game. He'd present something to me and it would be different and it'd be awesome. But I'd scoff at it. And he's like, all right, I'll call you back in about 2 weeks and you'll love it. Track 8, All the Way.
All the way, all the way.
People love this song. Bizzy's intro was great. It was nice to hear Krayzie and Layzie work the chorus. This time when I just listened to it, I heard an additional guitar in the background that I never noticed previously. There's an extra guitar built in there. Bizzy sounded like he recorded this with them, which made it nice. When the album came out, this wasn't a favorite of mine. The instrumental was too repetitive, but as I'm older, I like it a lot more. This song and If I Fall blend together in my mind. The Layzie's part, We Go On All the Way, and the beat change was always unique to me. Wish coming in always sounded like he had a tone of voice like, hey man, let me get my verse in. Or like if they were passing the mic around, it felt like he kept dropping the mic and had to quickly come in to drop his verse on tempo. But I like that. But I feel exasperated sometimes hearing him come in. Re-listen to the song, you'll see what I mean with the Wish verse coming in. But yeah, nice song. It's not my favorite, but I know it's a lot of Bone fans' favorite. Does All the Way and If I Fall, are those blended together in your mind? Or do you see those as two different songs? Like if those songs were back to back on this album, I wouldn't even know that they were two songs. And I'm not saying they sound the same. My mind goes to the same exact place. And it's like it's kind of like a sub part of the movie. If Thug World Order is the movie, All the Way and If I Fall are two scenes that are like shot with the same loot, the same look and the same feel, the same vibe. Very simple. I didn't even look. I'm going to look up after this to see if it's the same producer. Many Bone fans say that All the Way is one of their favorite Bone songs. It's not one of mine. I don't not like it, but I'm always impressed when I see how much people like the song. And, you know, they say that it's kind of like Bone Thugs and Harmony, the way they do the chorus, all the way, all the way. And that's great. I think it's the instrumental that it's not even, I don't like the instrumental. The instrumental's fine. It's like the lo-fi. You ever listen to lo-fi beats online? I'm not a fan of lo-fi beats, but every now and then I'm happy when lo-fi beats are on. It's just, I'm not a lo-fi beats kind of guy. Some people really love that stuff. It's just not my thing. But that's what I think of when I think of All the Way. I think of even though it's not lo-fi, it just makes me think of that. I never popped in Thug World Order to listen to All the Way, except when I would see people express how much they like it. And then I'm like, yo, was I missing something? And I pop it in and I'm like, nah, I listened to this song a lot. I just never put that track on. It would just play after Bad Weed Blues. Track 9, Nonfiction Words with Easy.
You put the dot on your target, then you blow the shit out the motherfucker.
Hey, they got Eazy-E on the album, and it was nice to hear from him again. He sounded really cool on it. That little guitar, dun, dun, dun. It's cool. Like it's an interlude that you don't mind hearing over and over again. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, it's cool, it's got replay value. It doesn't become annoying. Track 10, Pump Pump.
Motherfuckers think we really don't keep beat, nigga, come on with it. You ain't gotta listen, but I'ma let you hear it. Pump pump.
Pump Pump and Set It Straight are sequels of each other in my mind. And luckily they were right after each other on the album. The rapid drum fill with the buck. It sounds cool every 8 measures. I love it. Like I feel myself just waiting for that to happen again. I felt like this was Bone's first attempt at a normal rap hip hop song, but it still had the Bone twist on the hook. The style would become more prevalent in the following years, but this was a rap song, and I thought it was cute hearing Bone do just a regular hip hop song without it being all boned up. Bizzy's verse, once again, is a showstopper with him dropping the fart sounds, but the energy on it was awesome. And bro, if you haven't heard this in a long time, Wishbone brought the heat on this track. So if you thought Wish fell off, you know, people say, oh, Wish ain't been the same since Creepin'. Nah. Check out Wish on Pump Pump. He brought the heat. They all sounded like they had a lot of fun, like a fun time on this song. where it was like they didn't have to be them. They got to just be rappers. The funny part was the horns of the song sound like they came from the Zelda 3 Super Nintendo sound set.
That's right, Bone Thugs and Harmony back up in this motherfucker, nigga.
But I love Pump Pump. But I would never use Pump Pump to demonstrate the sound of Bone. To me, Pump Pump is not Bone. It's Bone just being basic rappers. And it's fun, though. And they sounded like they had fun. And that's why I like the song, because the energy was there and it sounded like they enjoyed it. It sounded like they got to just let loose and do something different for a change. Track 11, Set It Straight.
Back to set it straight. We never left and can't break up. And we have yet to be replaced. They say,
So as I said, this song has the same vibe as Pump Pump. It's rap, it's hip hop, it's not Bone. It's making traditional rap songs and having fun with fun, happy beats. It's just fun. And what's also cool is like Krayzie intuitively understood to balance out the happiness of the instrumental by using the Leatherface style to contrast it, and to contrasting the playfulness of the instrumental. The chorus is so playful, and it's like it reminds me of the fun era of hip hop from the 80s and early 90s before gangster rap. I love the girl announcing who was about to be on the mic. Krayzie Bone. They say, oh. Just how the name gets inserted. It cracks me up every time I hear it. And I like that Wish, once again, so, Wish killed it on Pump Pump, and on Set It Straight, Wish invented like a new style. He was exploring on how to formulate verses a little bit different. So there was, they were testing new things out. I liked it. I just liked that it was exploratory, even though the styles they were exploring previously existed, but it was new for Bone themselves to explore it. So I really enjoyed Set It Straight and Pump Up. They go back to back. I'm glad they're back to back on the album. I think All the Way and If I Fall should have been back to back. But nonetheless, we got it like that. Whenever I hear Krayzie on the chorus for Set It Straight, he just feels like the circus ringmaster, that he's just directing the whole entire show. I picture him with the big circle thing and juggling and like putting those fire things down his throat and riding a horse and just doing all these different things you'd see the circus ringmaster do. He just sounded in full command. It just total command, total running the show. People laugh at this song, they make fun of it, and they make fun of people that like it, but I'm one of those people that like it. I really love the vibe to Set It Straight and Pump Pump. I don't care what the haters say at this stage. I like them both, and I think Krayzie really loved it too. I think Wish loved it. Wish doesn't really sound that excited to be on songs, but these two, he really felt excited to be on them. Track 12, Money Money. I love the double drum beat at the end of each, I guess like every fourth measure. That dum 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 dum, that dum dum dum. Money, money. Yeah, that double drum beat at the end of each fourth measure, I think it was iconic. Bizzy's verse was the standout on this. In fact, it might be one of the standout verses on the album. As was his like physical performance in the music video. It was so exciting when Bizzy was on. He has his hand up, and the way the camera is, and his hair is blowing, and where he is like in Miami under I-95. I love that. I love Bizzy. Bizzy sucked all the energy out of the room or out of the atmosphere in that video. Like that was standout stuff. Bizzy's verse was so amazing and exciting and energetic that it overshadows Krayzie's excellent verse on The Block of the Rock Where the Cops Came. That verse is awesome by Krayzie, but man, Bizzy, that was such a show stealer by Bizzy. At the time, the whole money concept was getting tired. Like that was the issue with Thug World Order. It's repeated concepts. So think about how many they had. For the Love of Money. They had Ressurrection, Paper. They had Fighting Over Paper. There was so many monies, and now they got money. It's like, come on, guys, man. How many times are you going to rap about money? How many times are you going to tell me to get up and get it? How many times are you going to tell me you're back? So there was just, we got to the stage of their career where the recycling started to happen. Now, granted, fans wanted a weed song every album, but we never said we wanted a, hey, tell me you're back, or hey, tell me about the money again. So that was kind of like, yeah, and I could see it from like, even ain't nothing like money in a Ziploc bag. So I could see how people, I saw them roll their eyes when this song would come on. You could just see them saying, "Oh, what do you know? Bones rapping about money again. How creative." That's what I got from people. I mean, because you got to understand, I was an obnoxious Bone fan shoving it down everybody's face. That it was almost like they want to see the Bone gone, so they were just waiting for Bone to do something wrong, and Thug World Order was their time to shine and pounce upon it and just spot out to me and point out all the flaws. Yeah, there, John, your Bone guys they're just repeating themselves now. So yeah, the money concept was getting tired. The timing of the release for the song was just out of place. I thought it was a strange single to have. I enjoyed the song a lot, and I tried to pump it for people, but everyone just, when they heard it, they're just like, "Oh yeah, money again. Hey, what do you know?" So I would hear it around others. You could kind of see them just roll their eyes. Is this all they rap about now? For the love of money, money, paper, paper, paper. I could see how the outside looking in people were, when this single dropped, they're just like, all right, I guess that's all they got to talk about. The music video for it, shot in Miami. I was actually present on the set for it for the very end of it. I was supposed to be there for the whole thing, but I was working another job at the time, and I didn't get out till like the very end, and I couldn't. I got lost trying to find which, because it wasn't at like an address. It was underneath I-95. And I'm like, yo, how do I even get underneath I-95 to where they're shooting this thing? Eventually found it. And I think this was like before I didn't have GPS, and it wasn't like I could even use MapQuest. The reason why I was at the shoot was, I think it was the guy that made, and I forget it, Mike, his name was Mike. I think people knew him as Graphical. He knew Rick Robinson, and Rick Robinson wanted somebody in Florida to show up to just do behind the scenes footage for Money. And they're like, oh, well, this guy Lippy's always bragging that he lives in Florida. Let's bring him out there. So I went out, and I didn't get a chance to shoot anything. In fact, I was supposed to take on the job to be Bizzy's personal videographer, which would have wound up becoming the Alpha and Omega DVD. I could have been the one that shot that. But I had a more important, better job to take than that at the time. It was just a short-term job, but it's kind of cool thinking. And you know what? At the time, I was like, are they really going to put out a DVD just for Bizzy Bone's album? And it turned out that they did. I thought they were bluffing, but they actually delivered on it. Track 13, Not My Baby. I said this on the show before. We might laugh at the song or relate to it, but I always think about the unwanted children and single parent households. Now, everyone is at fault but the child. You know, mommy, where's my daddy? That part is sad. It's tragic. They sounded like the song meant a lot to them, though. It sounded like they put a lot of effort in it. It sounded like it, you know, they really needed to say it. And conceptually, it's a fine song. It's memorable. It was well done. And it was the first time Bone had this kind of subject matter. But it wouldn't be the last. But I could also see why, you know, guys in this situation would relate and appreciate the song. To celebrate it, it's commentary that needs to be said. Sometimes social commentary is stuff that just needs to be said. So I get it. It's not my favorite. But at the same time, when it is on, I always marvel at like, wow, this is a well done song. Track 14, Cleveland is the City. I didn't like this when it came out because it was more of the same. Well, there you go. So we got the repeated theme of money. We got the Bad Weed Blues. We're back. We got Get Up and Get It. And now we have Cleveland is the city that we come from. Gee, really, guys? Really? Is Cleveland really the city? We didn't know that. Thanks for letting us know. So I didn't like it when it came out because it was more the same and it felt lazy, right? Not Lazy Bone, but it just felt like lazy. It's like, bro, are you guys just going to recycle every concept all over again? And I realized this is probably what people want, especially from Cleveland. But the song felt bland. And the best part of the song is Bizzy talking at the end. That was real cool with Wish saying, yeah, and Krayzie periodically doing the chorus. There's probably a lot of Beyond the Harmony type info that could be gleaned from it. And they mention economies, the coldest beer in America. And so for Cleveland is the city, Get Up and Get It, Guess Who's Back, even Bad Weed Blues at the time, I just felt like that Bone was just recycling material. But what I also knew from having a degree in mass communications and marketing and all that is that you got to give people the familiar stuff that they want. And so they didn't do the wrong thing business wise, but creative wise, I think Bone fans are into them for their creativity. It's not like they're just a group that you want to hear more of the same. Like Cypress Hill is always going to give you the same thing, and that's what people want. With Bone, it's like, we're in it because we want to hear what kind of new things they come up with next. And they just gave us the whole Thug World Order album. It's just like, okay, it's more of the same, but doesn't hit the same way because we already experienced it the first time. You almost wonder if this was one of the first Bone albums to come out, how much more would you like it, since these would all be new concepts? But because they're recycled, you already went there. You already had that It's like I say with Eminem. Eminem, when he first came out, was amazing. But like now when you hear him, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm used to it now. So he might drop the greatest album of all time, and it'll be slept on because that impact of that initial first time. It's like getting an HD TV. When you first get it, you're blown away. And then now when you look back on HD TV, having a 4K TV, you're like, bro, I can't believe I was impressed by that. And even, like it wears off. Track 15, If I Fall. This is easy listening, Bone. That drum fill was amazing. I love it. I enjoyed the bass guitar and the lead keyboard. People really like this song. It's okay to me. The wishbone, daddy do, that always made me laugh. My friends would always ask, like, hey, is Wishbone saying daddy do? Daddy do. Daddy do. Daddy do. So yeah, If I Fall, it's an enjoyable, easy listening song. It's not like something that I put the disc into here. I know people love it. It's chilling. It's just a chilling song. But if I'm going to belabor on this thing of the recycled concepts, Fleshbone and Montel Jordan had a song called Fallen, and I was like, gee, we're doing the Fallen thing again. All right, guys. Okay, why not? Track 16, A Thug Soldier Conversation.
The flesh gonna be flesh. I gotta stay wicked like the stack's supposed to.
How much did this hype people up for Unifive? For Blaze of Glory, I think back to the time and the way Tupac, when he got out of jail after Me Against the World and dropped All Eyes on Me, and he just came out like the Tasmanian devil. He came out on a rampage. Like, as Pac said, I came out there like Shaka Zulu bailing on everybody. Like, that moment, we thought Flesh was going to come out like Pac and just eat the whole entire game and just take over the whole thing the way Pac did. Because, Pac was big, but he wasn't All Eyes on Me big going in. And when he came out, All Eyes on Me, that was the Revenge of the Jedi right there. And, hearing this with the conversation with Flesh, you're just thinking like, I remember thinking for like however long it was, I was like, man, when Flesh gets out this thing, man, he's going to set the world on fire. And it just didn't happen that way. And I wanted it to. I was so hyped for it. And if you don't have, so this interlude here, I think really built the hype for The World's Enemy. If you take this interlude out, the way the album ends, it almost, I wonder if our expectations for The World's Enemy wouldn't be as high as they were. So yeah, this one's an interesting butterfly effect. I didn't see anything too amazing in the special thanks, but I will say that Bizzy's special thanks is only one sentence, whereas the other guys had paragraphs and paragraphs as you look at it here. I'll zoom in just so you could see what Bizzy has, just a one-liner. Bizzy Bone, thanks to our creator, Lord Jesus Christ, for management, Rick Robinson of RJ Management. That's it. Then it goes on to DJ Unique, and Uniques go on to the whole other panel, and it's the whole length. But you know what? Let's read Wish. This is what Wishbone had to thank. First, thanks God for my many blessings, my Bone Thugs for keeping our dream alive, my parents, Granny, my most special and my number one fans, my children, Evangel, Temple for their many prayers and for being there for us through rough times. Thank you. All the producers that worked with us through the years. You know who you are. Steve Lobel, William DeBella, DAS Communications, Salmon Staff, Equalizers, Cleveland Motorcycle for keeping my bike hot. There you go. Wishing his bike. My riding buddies, Starboys, CD, Melly Mel. I wonder if that's the real Melly Mel. Chris, my newest Thugline members, the Young G's, and my straight up thugs, Toot, Henry, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, Dre Kenneth, Big Man, Mr. Dixon and staff. Do It Jewelers for keeping me blinging. My man Little Dre for always keeping my heads in the clouds, you know. If I forgot anybody, don't trip. Y'all know what it is. Last but not least, my baby, Minnie. Oh, and can't forget all y'all haters. Keep it coming. It just makes us stronger. Fuck y'all. All right, time for final thoughts on Thug World Order. It ain't the first 4 albums, but it's a good album. I played it a lot. It sounds like I was dogging this thing throughout this review, but the reality is, in 2002, when I was working that job that prevented me from doing Bizzy's personal videographer, I did a lot of driving, was driving all over places, seeing a lot of the world that I hadn't seen, and this was the only soundtrack in the car. I was just playing. Thug World Order was just permanently in the CD player. It would just push play. The only times I wouldn't hear it was when I would get a phone call while driving. My favorite tracks on the album, obviously, were Bone, 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 Home. I liked What About Us a lot back then. Now I don't listen to it too much. Now I like Bad Weed Blues a lot. Pump, Pump, Set It Straight, Money, Money. Those are my joints on there. But I played the whole thing. It's not like I just let it play. I was like, let me just let this thing ride. Eventually, I like every one of these tracks on there. And honestly, I was surprised the group album came out. I was happy just to get another group album. At the time back then, rappers didn't have careers that lasted this long. Only a few of them did. So, you know, after the collection 1 and 2's coming out and these solo albums coming out, I was like, all right, I guess that's the end. And I'm good with it. They gave me a great ride and then got Thug World Order. And I'm like, okay, I'll take it. And then later on got Bone Brothers. I'm like, okay, whatever this is, great. They're keeping it going. But at that point, I just thought it was the end. And it just kept going till now. Because also I was thinking, if this is the end of your Ruthless record contract, where are you going? Where are you going to go? You're going to release it yourself? I mean, you didn't do the both Thug business didn't work out too good. And, you know, so I didn't know what they were going to do after this. And honestly, really, what did they do? Other than Swizz Beatz rescuing them for Strength and Loyalty and then Warner Brothers trying to capitalize on the release of Flesh and Bone, thinking they're going to get a Tupac out of it. That really was it. Once Ruthless ended, it seemed like Bone kind of ended other than these little resurrections. And look, dude, trust me, I'm on Beyond the Harmony. I know all of the stuff that's happened since Thug World Order, and it's voluminous. But don't take my word for it. I just saw Method Man today where he said, yeah, you know, there's no audience for 90s hip hoppers. Everybody says they want it, but even if somebody dropped an album, it doesn't do anything. Now, what Method is saying without saying it, and what I'm saying without saying it, is that the machine is not pushing 90s rappers. They pushed 90s rappers in the 90s, but after that, no. So no matter how big of an artist you were in the 90s, you drop it. If you don't have the machine pushing it, it's not hitting the way it did. Now, Bone dropped a gazillion albums since Thug World Order, meaning like solo albums and all these other projects. But even the machine was kind of dead on Thug World Order, and I suspect Ruthless was kind of like, well, if this is the last one, whatever, bro. We're not going to waste a bunch of money if Bizzy's not going to shoot the music video. And if he's not, you know, I think they just had it. They were like, hey, it's done, whatever. They'll drop THUGS a few years later to capitalize on Strength and Loyalty. And again, a gazillion things happened in between, but ultimately the end of Ruthless was the end of the machine being behind Bone. The machine resurrected one more time for I Tried, and that was the end of it. A good question would be to rank Thug World Order, Strength and Loyalty, and The World's Enemy. You know, which of those 3 do you like the best? I might throw a poll up on our community section just to see how that vote goes. I know people are going to rank The World's Enemy last, although I think The World's Enemy has the most good songs out of these albums. Like, I'm talking like big time. As much crap as people talk about The World's Enemy, it's got See Me Shine, Rebirth, Meet Me in the Sky, Gone. Now, Gone's suspect, but it's got facts don't lie. Only God could judge me. There's a lot of. I'm gonna do a thing on The World's Enemy at some point just to show you it's not as bad as we say it is. I'm leaving out another one too, another good song. It's slipping my mind, but it's not that bad anyway. So basically, maybe I should say Thug World Order or Strength and Loyalty. Which do you like better? And that's a tough sell because they're about equal to me. But Home, I'll tell you this though, Home was my favorite track on the album by far. Like Home was a home run. Home was a grand slam. It's worn out to me now. Like honestly, like I categorize the way I played it is like the same way you probably don't need to ever hear the Crossroads or First of the Month anymore. This is in that category. Like if it's on, I'll hear through Krayzie's verse and that's it. I played it way too many times, but it was an excellent one, and I'm glad I played. Not only that, a year later began that warehouse experience for 2 years, and hearing Krayzie's verse clocked on that night shift, never thought I would make it. Yeah, I was clocked on that night shift, man, 6 p.m. till 11 a.m. the next day. Hating it, man. So, yeah, Home got played a lot so I could waddle in my misery of my circumstance that I was. But got out of there. Just like Bone, I made it to. What would I give this album? There's 2 home runs on this album, Home and Bone Bone Bone. A lot of good songs on the album, but the 2 home runs, Home, Bone Bone Bone. Does that make this a great album? No, but it's a good album. It's a good album. I don't know how to rank it, honestly. I don't know. I think Cecil and I ranked our top 10 Bone albums. I don't even remember where we put this. It's not in my top 5, but I think it's in the top 10, maybe. I'm going to go rewatch that video. I really don't know where to rank this. I don't know how to rank Strength and Loyalty. Basically, we all know it's the first 4 Bone albums, and then there's everything else, right? So, you guys rank it for me. Give me your top 10 Bone albums. Is Thug World Order, it's above an 8, right? It's at least an 8. It's not a 10. We could say that we know for sure Thug World Order is not a 10. And it's not a 9. But I was ranking some of these like solo albums as 8s, so it's better than the solo albums. So I'll say Thug World Order is an 8.5. You like that? That work? I'm going to say 8.5. It's not a 9, and it's definitely not a 10, but it's better than an 8. So I'm giving it an 8.5. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you next time. See you later.